to Squatch and Holler. Please like and subscribe.
And hit that bell.
Hey, y'all, we're gonna try something different. We're gonna get through this kind of quick for what our normal time. Y'all know I like including y'all in my tests and what and Spencer says whatnot. So I'm recording this. This is not live. I'm gonna set a time. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I took some stuff to dry some stuff up and made me a toddy or whatever. I got some water here. So I know a lot of times this bores people. You get to talking and they'll click off. So here's what I'm going to do. I've been going on all these shows and telling my story. I finally learned how to do the pictures, show the pictures. So I've got pictures to show everybody. I'm going to do a quick show for the new people, my new subscribers. Thank everybody. First off, we're just maybe 5 away from 1,200, and it blows my mind. But so I've got pictures to show, and I'm going to do a short version timeline of how I got into this. I had a good time on a show the other night, and I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of people. When I had about 200 or 300 subscribers, maybe 400, I told the story, and we had Peyton on, but I want to get this down so people can go back and look. So, when I was 14, I had an encounter. I saw a Bigfoot probably for about 30 seconds. A lot of you have heard that story. It was it changed my life. I don't think it changed it drastically, but at 53 years old, I'm sitting here talking in front of a camera. And for many years, I couldn't talk to anybody about it, right? So I'm Marshall County, Tennessee, the southern part around Mooresville. And after I told my story, I've had more people than I ever thought come out and tell me stories, and they'll tell me the ridges, and I'll know exactly where they're talking about. We took my mom on a ride the other night. You can go watch that video. She showed me exactly where it was at. I had an idea of the area I was within a half a mile, but I was actually on the wrong road. It's when it dips down, and actually it makes more sense. So, when I saw mine and it stepped out, I say mine, that's the one I saw. It stepped out and, looked up the hill, turned and looked at me and walked the way it did. The walk is what confirmed. I mean, the size of it already had, but in your mind, you're like, this can't be happening. But the way it walked up the hill after, I'd walked up it a lot of times, was not like us. It was a lot quicker. It wasn't running. Then I go and start thinking about it and think about things that happened up to that point that probably were tied to that. Because it was almost like, I don't sound crazy saying it knew me, but I had hunted those woods from 6 or 7 or 8 right in there, going with my dad to hunting by myself. And then at 14, I was a regular in the woods, and it was a lot of acres. It was several farms, but I had permission. Nobody else hunted. So then I had we started learning about infrasound later, and I had the instance where I had gone hunting. It was snowing on Saturday morning. I couldn't wait to get out there, and I got to the field where I usually cut across to go to my tree stand diagonally to the left. And something froze me. I couldn't walk. I couldn't take another step. I had a feeling if I take another step, I'm not coming out of those woods. And this is the quick version, y'all. I mean, you can go to these other shows. There's probably a dozen of them, and do a search. Do Roger Williams, Bigfoot, Marshall County, Tennessee, and a lot of them will pop up. So I'm just kind of want to get to the pictures of some of the stuff to just show people that we are getting out there. And this past, we'll go back. I told my dad about what I saw. He laughed at me. A couple years later, something jumped off the bank. Where I thought it was, I was thinking it's about 12 foot, 15 foot. But when my mom took us to the exact spot a few nights ago, it was more like 30 foot, give or take 25 to 30 foot with a 4-footish fence. So whatever it was jumped over that, landed in the middle of the road, and started running to them. And my dad had said it was definitely on 2 legs. It landed 2 feet, shook the ground. He's not here with us anymore, so I'm glad Mom showed us exactly where that was at. Went a long time. Went from 1985. Heard some screams that I learned later were similar to the Ohio. My son was playing that on his phone. I didn't know what finding Bigfoot was at the time, and it froze me in my tracks. I went in and asked him, what are you playing? And he told me all about it, and I said, well, we need to have a talk. I've heard that half a dozen times or more. I had times in the woods when I was young in a tree stand that I would freeze up in fear. I never was, and this was before the sighting, never really attributed. It was one time. I mean, I walked in the woods dark, walked out of the woods dark. If I had a flashlight, it was one of the little $2 flashlights, the little bulb, that you barely could see the ground. Didn't care. Grew up in the woods, grew up frog gigging at night, fishing at night, trout lining on the river. We've hunted ginseng in some of the biggest hills in this county. Just had a ball. I still feel comfortable out in the woods. Now the night thing is a little different, but I still get out there. So this was in the mid '80s, and then I didn't think anything about it as far as us. I started doing research, when the internet come along, and I think I watched a lot of probably the first one. Just guessing, I watched. I'm pretty sure I put in the search Tennessee Bigfoot, and Scott Carpenter's name popped up at that time, and it was East Tennessee, and I watched some of those, and then it goes, how it is on YouTube. You go one thing and you end up shopping on Amazon for the night's over somehow. I guess their advertising works, but so then Peyton and I had the spot that in 2020 where we were hunting this new land, and we were scouting. It wasn't hunting season yet. We were in a rush. We had to get out there and just do a quick scouting session, find the down fences and the water and the acorns and all that to get set up. So I'm gonna show you. We had the rock thrown. Now I don't see where he's beside that tree, but we found a tree break for no reason. I stepped past it. My phone triggered and said, I don't quite understand. But we weren't talking. And then all this happened at the same time when the rock, about double fist size, came through a cedar bush tree, some of the green, and landed, hit another rock or two, and then back, and kind of rolled to a stop. That's how we got welcomed back into this. But because I had watched videos, seeing the marker was like, wait a minute, is this what they're talking about? Nah. And then all this other stuff happened. So we stayed away from that. The next year, after thinking about it, We didn't feel threatened. There were some things that happened that during that year. Peyton heard some sounds. We had a smell one day. So it was the next year. I decided when we go scouting, let's go up around and come in and not be quiet. You can see that day is one of the early videos I posted. We weren't trying to be quiet. We didn't want to sneak up on anything. Going up the side of this little thin field, cedar thicket on the right. When I say thicket, I mean it's not thick. It's just all mostly cedars. And we're gonna go up around and come up the backside. We got up there, and I'll tell people it was open. I thought it was really thick back in there, but I think the rock was a warning. Hey, don't come any closer. We took it as that and left, and then but if we'd have went a few more yards and went through those cedars, it opened up in these beautiful woods. This bowl saddle, not a saddle, but a draw. Long ways. We would have seen whatever it was. We might have had a different fight on our hands, but thank goodness we listened. But okay, so headed up to that point, we made the decision to do that the next year. And this is what I walked up on about, I'm going to say 100, 120 yards from the rock throwing. So what you're about to see is up this side, and then over the little rise is where the rock throwing happened. So when I saw this, I couldn't wrap my head around it. Hold on. So this was I say it appeared when I saw it. I'm like, what in the crap? I either say what in the crap or I cuss severely. I try to keep from it. This is one of those oh crap moments. The one that if you're looking, let's see. If you're looking, it's on my right, but it's the one that's laid over. And I'm hoping it's on y'all's right. But anyway, the one that's on the bottom and is on that tree limb up there, this is how slow I am. We went back a year or so later. I got to thinking and watching these shows and talking to people. The one on the right has a root system. It grew there. It died there. Something pushed it over, or it fell over. The one on the left that's under doesn't have a root system. It was brought in from somewhere, which was that's another oh crap moment, right? So that one was brought in and laid in that spot here on that limb, and then this other one was pushed down over the top of it. Okay. Now I don't know what did that. There's nobody there there's nobody. So that put me on edge a little bit, but still I didn't feel threatened. So anyways, when we talk about the X that we found, that's it. It's still there. I took a picture this last year. I don't know if I still have that, but anyway, let's see what we can do here. See, I don't want to remove me from the show, and this is a test, y'all. It's not live. Once again, it's not. So the hide button. Okay. So that area, haven't seen anything, but we found things. Now this. Peyton sent me a picture early one morning when he goes there by himself. It worries me a little bit. He was walking in on the opposite side of the farm on the ridge. There's a ridge. It's a field, but it's full of these locusts or whatever, and those thorns are 3 to 4 inches long. He said, "Look what I found," and we're back and forth, and he took pictures of it when he came out, which would be this one. From the other side, that's about 5.5 foot. You're looking, I guess that's almost eye level to him. It's maybe 5.5, 6 foot. There's not a thorn broken. There's not a scuff on the tree, no on the bark. No piece of equipment caused that. There's nothing on the ground. There's no trees around to fall on it. If anybody has an explanation, please give it to me. Because when we look at stuff like this, we look at everything. Okay. Now that's about, I don't know, 2 years old maybe. And I went and looked at it with him and decided, yeah, that's very strange. If my voice cracks or anything, y'all, I'm fighting that whatever. So I've got a bigger picture here, or I thought I did, of him standing. Dang it. Well, the one that's about 10 foot tall, maybe some of them didn't get downloaded. The one that's about 10 foot tall is the same way. Broken the same way, just 10 foot up. Absolutely no reason for it to be that way. It's bigger, of course. No scuffs on the tree, no scrapes, and more importantly, none of the thorns are off of it or broken off. So that means something had to break it, reach in, or something had to break it at that point to where it's broke. It didn't grab a limb and pull it down. It didn't, and I don't know who or what would be crazy enough to do that, these trees like that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So we've had stuff going on in that area. And we gained access to another piece of property. And then since March last year, and this time probably when we started going. But this is where I don't have the audio, the video. I'm gonna try to get that, maybe put just that on another show or save it where I can show you sometimes. We had 20 something minutes of this. Mark Newbill, and Larry Porch, they had me on, and they went over it and analyzed it and said it falls into the range of a booger, they think. No known animal. It doesn't pick up all of the boulder tossing and the tree breaks and the huff growl that was so scary, but it's there. So I had the video I've got of where the tree fell. Well, I went in after all that craziness happened and checked the apples and oranges, and nothing had touched them. And Peyton had seen something wavy. Y'all, we talk about the predator type cloaking, which sounds crazy, but so I take this video and there's no wind, and this tree falls the rest of the way down with nothing. And it's possible it can happen, but it happened, naturally. It happened right there with me standing there, though. It'd been there forever. Well, what I'm about to show you, when he screenshot, he was just saying, "Hey, Daddy, that tree, you can see it right here early in the video. It was up." He sent me the screenshot, and I'm looking at it, and I see something that looks like it's reflecting off of something, like sunlight reflecting. It was directly behind me, pretty much directly behind me. And I zoom in, and we're going to have a red circle here, and I can't zoom it, but y'all, if this is something cloaking, which I'm not saying it is, it would put it at the 10.5, we figure 10.5 foot mark by where that was at. Here we go. Now, I don't know if y'all can see my cursor, but in the very center there, you can see what looks like light reflecting off a forehead, 2 eyes, a big nose, and a big mouth and a chin. I don't know what that is. I know it was a digital camera. It could be anything. Pixelation, of course, 99% probably what that is. But shortly after this tree fell, and it was hung up pretty good with those big vines and stuff, and there's no breeze. You can watch the video. There's absolutely no breeze at all. I wouldn't give this much credit. I see patterns in it, and now that I'm looking at it a little bigger, I don't know if that's pixelation patterns or energy manipulation. Who knows? Okay. I don't. But that by itself is, not much. We got a lot of stuff happen since last March at that location. So then we go along and I contact Mike Bluler, hear him on a big podcast, and we get to talking, and I do talk on his show. I'm nervous. You can go back and watch that on Red Creek. I'm so nervous. It's funny now, but I didn't realize I was trying to get it all out, you know. And there's other stuff. I'm just trying to do a timeline. Um, then we get into co-hosting a little bit, and I talk to people, and they're talking about going out in the woods and themselves. I'm like, oh, okay, I might start doing this a little bit, and that's where this started. And we had some stuff happen. I think we wore out our welcome. Actually, we still go back. We've left it alone a little bit, but we've had the scream. Something walked out and screamed at us. We had terrifying. No, it wasn't a cat. It wasn't a dog. It wasn't anything that any of us had ever heard before. And Peyton, I put him up against, for this area and other parts of the world. He knows what sounds animals make. It came from Steve Irwin. He watched all that, watched all those shows, and he'll Google stuff. And he has a pretty good sound bank. He'll have to Google things every now and then, but he'll tell you. I've never heard anything like that in my life. It didn't sound like an animal. It sounded almost human at first. It sounded almost human male at first. And then as it got higher and then drew out for 8 or 10 seconds, you knew it definitely wasn't a human because it sounded like a maniac at first. But Kumbo, after I told him about it, and he mimicked it almost perfectly. He said it sounded like a young juvenile male, and it makes sense for what's been happening um, on the place. Not many people believe us. So then we go. Let's see. We get invited. We meet the woodwalkers, and everybody just tickled with them. They're just good people from all over the place. We went down to Greg's man cave, and that's Joe on. I don't know which way you are looking at this. There's Joe Parker, then Greg, then me, then Peyton, then Flat Rock, and then Mark and Becca. So we were down there, and I was joking probably about this time about maybe something snatching us off the porch with our back turned to the dark there. Peyton actually got a glimpse of something walking. He's like me. He's not going to say, "Oh, this definitely was what a Bigfoot or whatever." And here's at the man cave. We're hanging around. Joe got mad at me because I didn't put him on the internets, but he was there. He was telling the story, I think, at that point. So then Greg, he gives us the grand tour, and then we go down to the creek behind him. It's dry, and we pull leaves out of this. That's Peyton's hand. And there are several, little, tracks like this size. It looked like something maybe set it down. And y'all have heard us tell the story of that, and you can see the video. You can go back and look through my videos, and I do cuss at the end. I apologize, but I cussed when I saw the toes because it could be a boot, it could be a shoe, anything. But when I saw the toes in this rural spot that's hard to get to, it kind of freaked me out. Now this is a big. Peyton said he thought this was a big print, but it's got one of the smaller prints in it. If you'll look, at the top where the toes that looks like big toes, if you come down, there's a greenish black spot in the very center, just a few inches down. There's 3 or 4 finger marks, scrapes. That excited me because whatever the little thing was, and maybe as a kid, I don't know, something small with fingers raked its hands from my left to the right, and like it was pulling back something. We did not do that. That was uncovered. It was there. It was probably a few weeks old. So Peyton seems to think this is a big, huge footprint. And then this on the left side, the little one was standing in it, and for some reason, a little hand raked through there. That I can't tell you what that was. It was pretty impressive, but we don't know what it was. I think it's 2 footprints and a finger scrape, real gentle finger scrape. So that was in the same spot, and Let's see here if I got anything. I don't have anything else from there. But so throughout the timeline, this would be officially the first footprints that we've ever found that were questionable, right? That could be a booger. Okay. Now we get a phone call to go investigate a place, and I'll make it quick. It's in one county over. Somebody that didn't know about Bigfoot heard about some of the stories and had a cow killed mysteriously with back broken, no reason, and some other things. And we go and we immediately start finding strange things. Find a boneyard. Ask the guy, have any horses missing? Oh, we've never had horses. How long have you had the farm? We've had all of this, probably it's been in the family 50, 60 years. Have no horses missing. No, why? I said, there's at least 3 horse carcasses scattered out here. There's 3, we see 3 skulls. Peyton's like, have any pigs missing? We don't have any pigs. All we have is cows. That's all we ever had is cows. Well, you've got dead horses over here. That, the bones are, some have been there a long time. They're turning green and brittle and bleached out or whatever. I found coyote or dog skulls cracked open this way, long ways, where like something took out the material in there to eat. We found everything but deer, actually. Small stuff, and it was right next to a creek, and there was about 30 acres. He said it was about 30 acres on this knob. It was so rough, nobody in their family that he knew of never had been up there. But the boneyard was in the corner. You got the creek, and you got this rough stuff. And we found some trails, and we found some blocked off trails, and looked like some ambush points. I have video. I don't have video anymore. I want to go back and take pictures of the boneyard. So I'm going to ask if we can do that. But when we come through the creek, Peyton pointed and nodded. When I looked over, I was like, oh, no. So y'all see that? There were 4 of those, and I'll show you how big they are, what size they are. I mean, it's, my foot, that's a 12-inch boot. But the thing was, there were 4 of these marks, about 5.5 foot, like a inline trackway. And I know that's not very discernible what it is. Yeah, so I'm at one taking a picture of another one over there, and then it's in a straight line. I have no idea what that was, but it made impressions, and we weren't making impressions. And it's curved, and it's curving to get traction. It looks like it's right there at the edge of the creek, the water to my left, and it looked pretty fresh. So, a lot of other stuff there. We want to go back and take pictures. We actually want to go out there at night. We're working on that. The fella that's, I don't know how enthused they are about that. But so that's our second maybe footprints. And it's hard to tell, but the distance apart was very telling. We couldn't do it. We tried, miserably failed. Now I have things in my backpack to measure with. So we're learning. I never dreamed that I would see some possible footprints. And this is going to be a shout out to one of our good buddies. Every time I see this around, I take a picture. He hadn't seen this, but David Blalock made a mistype the other night about fireball. And he said fight ball, and that's what we've been calling it. David, I found out in a parking lot 2 big bottles. Somebody looked like got into some fight ball, and must have been a pretty good night. Sorry about that, guys. David, some of y'all get that joke. But then let's see here. It's been a crazy year. I'll go and show you that this was fun. First Bigfoot conference, and the only Bigfoot conference I ever went to. I ended up on stage. talking, and I'm thinking, what in the crap is happening? And I thought it went really well. Peyton, he was taking pictures, and somebody in the audience took that picture. One of y'all probably did send it to me, but Peyton took he was taking pictures, and I know some of y'all don't like the people on TV or whatever, but it was cool to get to talk to some of them and find out they're just regular people. There's my double chin, and if you talk to them and don't act goofy, they're tentative, listen, they enjoy meeting the folks, and we had a good time. We had an absolutely great time. We got to meet some of the Blondes and Booze. Daryl Denton, we got to meet him, and Martin Groves and Barton and all them, and just anytime somebody was speaking that we didn't, that was kind of boring to us, we would go back and hang out with them, and that was so much fun, and having somebody to go back to, just to get for a break or whatever. Then I decided the week of Thanksgiving, because somebody's talking about a meet and greet, to do a little recon, little seeing where we're going, how far it was away, and me and Heather and Honey, we were up there. We went into Land Between the Lakes, and I got a list of places to not go by myself, and forgot about it, and ended up going to a couple of those places. And on my show, I had nothing with me. Wasn't expecting anything. The water was low. Never had been there before. It was so far back in the sticks. I realized we have one vehicle. If we have trouble, we have no phone signal, and we're on our own. And I was nervous. So we turn around at this one campground. I'm looking out to where the water should be, and just a little bit in the center in that bay. And I see footprints. I see big footprints. I see a lot of footprints, tracks. Cold, rainy. It hadn't rained in weeks. It just rained the night before. It's misty a little bit. So I grabbed my little poor man's GoPro and go out there. I didn't carry my phone with me. I always have it with me. I didn't get pictures. And I started seeing tracks up close. And you can hear in the video, I'm nervous. And y'all, there's some tracks I hadn't talked about a whole lot. I hear about Dogman, and I've heard about that stuff. I've never heard about that before until we started doing these shows or watching these shows. And there's a lot of people that I like and I trust that talk about seeing them face to face. And you'll hear me in the video say, "Do they have wolves here?" But there's a wolf track. There's a canine track in the mud, though. Now, if it's a foot that big and it looked that big, but the thing was, on the backside of that track, it had an appendage almost that came back like, I can't explain it anyway. Don't want to get in that really, but it's scary. But then when I saw this one, and this was on the show, I'm gonna show the one first that hadn't been lightened up and put the red circle around. This is the one here that scared me. Now, that's hard to see right here. That's why I've got the lighter color and the red line right here. Okay. Now, that heel was probably about 4.5 to 5 inches across. Those toes up top looked like they were big or bigger than marshmallows. They were about an inch, 3/4 to inch and a half, each one different, but the big toe was obviously in there further. Then you have the pad, and it looks like a middle break there, and then this heel. And little did I know there was tracks found and casted in this same spot a few years earlier. But y'all, when I saw that track, there's other tracks there. I've got them on video. You can see them in the video on one of the shows, the LBL. Just search or through my videos, and you see Land Between the Lakes, LBL, whatever. It's in those. That one was so it was there. It was right there. There was no denying it. And so big. It's about 18 inches, guesstimation, with my boot being a 12-inch boot. Width at the top, hard to say. Yeah, if you got 4.5 back here, let's say 4.5, then you're probably talking what, 7, 8 across the top up there, maybe. I don't know. Some of y'all may be better than at that than me, but I knew that I had to get this documented in some way, so I wanted to jog out of there, but I didn't do that. Of course, I'm looking around and I get a little chatty. I'm so nervous, and I'm pointing out deer tracks like an idiot. Oh, look, there's a big deer. But I'm nervous, and I see these other tracks that are like 14 inches, with toes, the small ones with toes, walking through the little bit of water, and you know, guesstimation there was around 30 tracks in all, maybe from 3 or 4 different individuals. So I was scared, got out of there, got made fun of because I didn't cast them. If I could have had 100 pounds of casting material, and you still wouldn't see a cast because I was getting out of there. If I'd had about 4 or 5 experienced people to watch my back, it'd been no problem. But then I get back to the truck, and the windows are up and the doors are locked. I'm like, open the door, what's going on? And Heather said a rock was thrown. It sounded heavy as a golf ball, thrown out of the woods behind us. The truck skipped towards the truck, and she was looking in the mirrors and locked the doors and stuff. And I'm like, that's the point where you blow the horn and like, come on, let's go. So, and there's other stuff. I don't even have the pictures here. I have a few videos, and you can go through and look. And we're getting ready for this coming up in April. If y'all have any questions, I know most of you know about it, but go to the Woodwalkers. You see it, the logo there, Woodwalkers with a Z, and let them know you're coming, because the thing is, they reserved this campground months ago, paid the money, and there's a limitation on how many can stay during the night. And I don't know if they've met that yet, but there are other hollows close by that you can go in and camp and pay whatever it costs that night, and visit during the day and come see us. I'm gonna have a 10x10 pop up, I guess, and with my flag on it and stuff. And we're gonna try to meet as many people as we can. I'm gonna try to do a show or two, and this is what I'm practicing. I'm practicing this right here because I'm taping this, and because there's no signal, I'll set a table up, tape a show, have some guests that are there, and then go. I've got a place renting. Me and Heather have a place renting. Then I'll go and upload that, and then we're going to do some nighttime investigations and all that. So it may not be immediately that night, but I'm going to have something for you guys. And I'll have video of the campground and if we go on the walks and stuff. So that's what this is. This is about practicing that and seeing how to do it in StreamYard. It doesn't look too awful hard to do. And now when I get done here, I'm going to set for a later date, which will be probably tomorrow night. I don't know. I may do it immediately. Who knows? But I appreciate y'all putting up with my testing, but I like doing it. I have to do it this way. I have no tech support. I have nobody, to help me with this stuff. All this I've had to learn, and everybody's helped me. Mike Bluler's helped me. Misty Spencer's been a little bit of help. Joking, but the Woodwalker's been help. Tiffany Duran with Paranormal Odyssey, and she helped me a lot. But that's why we got pictures today. I had been shown it before, but I was shown the easier way. Now we got to work on the video. I don't think I have anything else, but the videos of the sound and the breakdown by Mark Newbill, you can find and I made a big playlist or whatever. You can go through the old videos. You got live stuff that I've interviewed people and went live. You got that tab. Then you have shorts, all those goofy shorts we do for fun. You can go look at those under that tab. And then you have videos, which is maybe something like I might have done an 8-minute video or had that sound and audio breaking. I can't even talk. I've got medicine in me, y'all. I'm struggling. So you have those are in just the video section. And anytime you want to search something like that, you know it wasn't alive, you can just click on the videos and go through them. But anyway, it has been 41 minutes. I appreciate y'all hanging in there. And I wanted to get this down. Put it on a video. So if something happened to my pictures, maybe this would have it, and I want to give a timeline. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on. These are highlights. We've had sounds and weird stuff happen and orbs and all that crazy stuff. But so anyway, guys, I'm gonna try something here. I don't have an outro, so I'm gonna do this right here. And let's see. I think when it started getting real to me is when Chris Reinhardt got my logo done, and we worked on it for a week or two, ideas back and forth, and I absolutely love the logo. It's amazing, and I appreciate him doing that and putting up with me. Now I'm gonna show this, and I'm gonna let this play a little bit. If y'all would, when you're not doing anything, let some of these videos play in the background and let some of the commercials run. And not greedy, it might be 10 cents or whatever, but every little bit helps. We're not getting rich for sure. And I look forward to seeing you guys that will make it to the meet and greet. And I will have some video, and I'm sure other people would too. All right, y'all. I'm going to play a little music on the way out. I'll talk to you later.
Welcome to Squatch and Holler. Please like and subscribe.
And hit that bell.